So you're the IT guy, and you're responsible for all of your company's systems. But not only are you responsible for just the production systems, you're also responsible for all the test systems, you're responsible for the development systems, and you're responsible for the archive system. And on top of all that, you got to worry about all the reporting for all the users for these different systems that you're supporting. Recently, wanted to mention that the Wall Street Journal surveyed 1,000 supply chain execs, and what they were looking for was what those execs found to be the most disruptive technology. And by far away, it was big data and analytics. That was number one. So let's talk about big data and reporting for a second. About 3 years ago, I didn't know too much about, I knew basic reporting, but I didn't know that much about big data. So I was talking to a friend of mine who's been in the supply chain industry for years and years, and he said to me that we need better reporting. But at that time, I really had no answer for him. I had not been working on that type of thing, and I was really like a deer in headlights. Then a couple of years ago, I was actually flying to Toronto, and I had a magazine with me. In the magazine there was an article about big data, and it was talking about how a few Fortune 500s were mining their data for valuable information. The article focused on a well-known retailer and how they were mining customer mouse clicks and product searches from their website, all this to build a customer profile. I thought that this stuff was pretty cool. However, one thing that really became obvious to me pretty quickly was the amount of resources that were required to support such an infrastructure. Really, they were immense. And the worst part about this is almost nobody would be able to afford this type of setup. The second thing that came to mind was that of all the customers that I had ever worked with, or we had ever worked with over the years, nobody had this type of reporting available to them. It did not matter either how big the customer was or how small the customer was, if they were 30 billion or if they were 3 million. The de facto reporting tool for all these customers, at least for their supply chain, was Excel. So just over 2 years ago, we started to build an infrastructure that would allow customers to offload their data to us. And we would keep their data for as long as they wanted. Not only that, we would both work together and build out the analytics that they needed to better run their business. And the other thing that was interesting is that we didn't want the data from yesterday, or we didn't want the data from last week. We wanted the data from right now. Along the way, we researched and wanted to avoid the common pitfalls in a system like this. The first one that we looked at was we found that these systems take a really, really long time to deploy. And that was one of the biggest pain points that we found. In our system, we can get a customer up and going within 24 hours, and that's within 24 hours you are actually looking at real data coming out of your system and you're reporting on it. There was always a high reliance on IT. Remember him? Well, a good Excel user can build his own analytics in our system with new data and share them with anyone in a very short period of time. The next was storing all that data. Well, remember him again? That was his problem. In our system, what we're asking is what we're telling you is that you can give us your data, and we're going to keep it for you, and we're going to keep it as long as you want. The next thing was the ability to measure yourself within your own industry. A lot of these systems allow you to measure yourself within yourself. So you can measure today from last week, from last month, from last year, and so on. However, you cannot measure against your industry because the data is just not there. Well, with this system, with our system, you're going to be able to do that. What we're doing is we're putting groups of companies into industry verticals. And what we're going to do is we're going to build analytical reporting on a per vertical basis, allowing customers to see where they stand within that vertical. The next thing we looked at was collaboration. Single reports in our system and entire dashboards can be shared amongst system users. The next thing we're doing is we're building the capability to create, share, and keep PowerPoint-type presentations using widgets within the system. Keeping up with demand is another big problem with analytical systems. but our infrastructure right now at this time is partner ready. Each partner can implement, manage, support, and build their own customers under their own banner using this infrastructure. Each customer will have their own database. System is scaled vertically and horizontally to allow for zero delay growth. Next was a one-size-fits-all mentality. We're going to specialize. We know supply chain, and we know it very well, and this is what we're going to be sticking to. We know where we fit in. Finally, you're going to find